So today was a very, very good day in school. Uh, we, I took my first class with the kids. I had 45 minutes to teach them. The teacher Andrea said I can teach them about whatever I like. So, and because this coming Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I just built a Prezi. And then yesterday when I was in Stendon, I was talking to Abla about like any things in particular I should be doing in the class, because I'd never actually taught a class before. So when I was in the class, when I was talking to Abla, the main thing he said was scaffolding, and like I was very familiar with that because, well, we'd been studying it like for the past 3.5 years. Like it's a central thing in pretty much every year. So, like, I knew quite a lot about it, so I was like, okay, grand. So then, I was there, and the first thing I got the kids to do, like, I asked them, does anyone know who Martin Luther King Jr. is? And they're all, none of them had a clue. So I put them into groups, and then I told them to do their own research on him for about 15 minutes, which was probably the best thing, because like, at least if they did their own research and it would have been in Dutch, they'd have an idea of what I was talking about later when I was presenting. So, but it was weird because when they were all looking it up, they were all looking it up. It wasn't like in the groups where 1 or 2 people were doing it and then 2 were chatting. Every single kid was doing their own research, and then they were all putting it together. So then, when they got all the research, I gave them big A3 sheets just to put some information on. Then I got each group to come up, and then they presented. I told them, like, they don't have to do it through English because that would just make them uncomfortable if they were presenting. So I said, if you can do it through English, that's great. If not, it's fine. Somebody can translate, like the teacher or one of the kids, Steven, who's very, very good English. But, so the first 3 groups all did it through Dutch. And I just read, like, the big terms, like Nobel Prize, stuff like that. Whenever I heard them, I was there, and I'd do, like, reinforcements by, like, going, oh yeah, like, nodding along to make them see that I knew they were going on the right track. And then, that was just an example of cooperative learning when they're all just there working together. And then the last group went up, and they just did it completely through English. Like, they didn't have a fluent speaker in the group, but they got all their information and then put it through Google Translate. One of them was perfect at reading it, and the other 2 not so much, but really appreciated it. And then they seemed very pleased with themselves afterwards. And then, I just asked. Then I did my presentation, and not all the kids were overly, like, enthralled by it. Like, it was about 50-50. One half who had an okay grasp of English were, like, nodding along, asking questions, and the other half that wouldn't have had particularly good English, they were very, like, I tried to get them involved, but it was a struggle. So then I gave my presentation, and the kids were all asking, like, I asked quite a few questions, like, how come he died so young? Why weren't black people and white people allowed to sit on the bus together, like in the same part of the bus? And then at the that afternoon, it was the creative time, and I was given a batch of like 5 or 6 kids, just to do my own thing with them. And I thought, okay, what exactly could I do? So over the last 2 days, I taught myself origami, which is like Japanese. It's the Japanese art of paper folding. So did that, taught myself how to make a Japanese crane. It's kind of like a swan. And then the kids, I taught it to the kids, and they took to it a lot quicker than I did. It took me 2 days, took them half an hour. but it went down really well. So now next week there's already kids asking if they can do the origami with me next week, and there was a few asking if I'm going to just be doing different celebrations or days each lesson, and I haven't fully decided yet, but if it's gone down that well, I might continue doing it. Yeah, it was a good day.